So I was making what is, in my opinion, the best Bloody Mary ever possibly made. I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it, I guess. But I, I I act like that was like a complicated thing to explain the best Bloody Mary ever.
There you go. You can dumb it
But
down.
yeah, there you go. Um, the key is just a ton of pickle juice. And not only, so it's basically just like I can straight up just drink a vodka pickle. Like just pickle juice and vodka. That would be my jam. I
Hmm.
fucking love pickles. And I'm a fan of vodka as well. And the other thing I just discovered was Tabasco makes a Tabasco Bloody Mary mix, which is absolutely crucial. Major news in the Bloody Mary world was the
Okay.
Tabasco Bloody Mary mix. Doesn't seem
Okay.
like we have a lot of Bloody Mary stands on the show right now. Otherwise, I feel like I'd be getting a bigger reaction. But
No, so I was looking this up. You know that show Letterkenny on Hulu?
yeah,
So I'm an avid watcher of that very dumb show, and they had an entire. So in Canada, I
what do
guess
they call Bloody Marys gay or something?
no, they call them Caesars. Which don't ask me why, but they have a episode where they make their own Bloody Marys, and I wanted to read them off to you real quick. I just wanted to read you off one of them, and you could tell me what you think. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So this was made by the druggies, the Skids. So for the base, it's half Clamato juice, half V8. For the booze, 3 ounces of gin. For the boosters in it, they got horseradish, lemon juice, and piri piri sauce, which I don't know what that is. Um, for the rim, they have soy sauce, celery salt, and lemon pepper. And for the garnish in it, they have a jumbo cocktail shrimp, a Dungeness crab leg, and an oyster.
I mean, that sounds delicious, but just significantly way too much work for me to do on a Tuesday afternoon.
You're telling me
Uh,
that you don't just want to go to the seafood market and pull out all the stops to make yourself a drink?
yeah, if I had like, actually, no, even if I had time for that, I don't want, like, that's just way too much effort for me. I would rather go to a bar and pay for that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I'd rather,
100%.
I have, my time is too valuable to spend all day doing that. I'd rather go pay somebody $10, $15 to do that for me.
Do you think that a
Welcome to New
Dungeness
York.
crab leg in a Bloody Mary is only $15?
I don't know, $25. I'd rather pay. My point is, if I'm getting Dungeness crab, regardless, it's gonna be expensive as shit.
Yeah,
Why the
yeah,
fuck?
yeah.
Why the fuck am I gonna get a whole Dungeness crab? Like, yeah, let me boil that up. We gotta boil the crab first. Imagine you're like, somebody's like, hey, can I get a Bloody Mary? You're like, oh, I got okay. I guess I have to go to the store, get a Dungeness crab, boil it.
They're like, wait, what? Yeah, then I got to go shuck some oysters. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks a lot. Make your order more complicated.
I just asked for I ran out of peri peri sauce.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
fucking-
sorry. Sue me. I ran out of peri peri. Yeah, that's just way too much time for me to spend making a drink. I get that that's some people's hobbies. My hobby is personally consuming the beverage
Yeah.
as opposed to making the beverage. Like I like simple 2, 3. Like this is even a big step for me. This is way more ingredients than I normally do. I mean, this is the Bloody Mary mix. I put olive juice in it, like from a can of olives, or it's like a jar.
Mm-hmm.
Pickle juice, vodka, and mix, and the salt and pepper. You gotta add salt and pepper. Gotta season that bitch.
Yeah.
So that's like 5 ingredients, which is a lot more than I normally obtain for a drink. I also have my chaser, of course. It's a Mets koozie, unfortunately. But
Mine's just a hydro flask that I got in Mexico. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Over this weekend, it was on Sunday. I had a little Sunday fun day for myself, and I went to CVS.
Okay.
And I got those like iced coffee, like cups or whatever. I mean, a lot of people drink alcohol out of them, but it was funny because when I went to CVS to buy it, The lady at the counter just like caught me red-handed. She was like, "Oh, what? I assume you're gonna put water in that?" Because my whole idea was to walk around that whole day, with a concealed beverage in my
Yeah.
cup. And I was like, "Damn, can't believe you are off the
Damn.
bat." Right as I went to go purchase it.
What a piece of shit. That's really just a mean thing for someone to do.
No, she was funny about it. She wasn't being
Okay.
mean about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
she
take
was
it back.
like,
Maybe not a piece of shit.
no, she was like somebody I'd want to like be friends with. It
Mhm.
was like a middle-aged black lady. She seemed like she liked to have fun. Sort of vibe.
Just because I just watched it, she used to be a piece of shit. She's not anymore. She used to be. So glad we got that out of there. Hey,
Good one.
I'd like to make a little bit of an announcement. We have the return of our producer / intern, Mr. Nicholas Barros, coming back to the podcast after deciding to ditch out on his first day on the job.
Yeah, it's been a big week for producer Nick. Aggie ring
Do you have your
ordered.
ring yet?
No, so I ordered it on last Tuesday, and it'll be here in September, and that's when I get to dunk the ring, to which you guys are invited to if you'd like to come make a fool of me. You're more than welcome. But
Are you not worried about choking?
No, I mean, our baseball team's not choking. I'm not choking. We're all good.
For the listeners, he made his background on this podcast, an A&M baseball player with a big hand pointing down with the horns down.
A big hand? That seems like a pretty average size hand.
It's a sizey hand. It's what I call a beefy mitt.
Yeah, but it's not like he photoshopped like a bigger hand onto his hand.
I wish he would have.
He just photoshopped like the horns up emoji and just like turned it upside down.
There it is. Yeah. I wish he would have got like a foam finger of the horns up and just everyone wears it down. That would make me a lot happier.
I think it would be more of a hassle to go to the Texas shop and buy one and have it shipped to my house and then have a burnt orange item in my home.
Yeah,
just against my religion.
You technically would also have to give money to the University of Texas.
Yeah,
but I guess in a way you kind of already do. Wait, but I guess they're two different systems. It's still all the government though. That's
yeah. I was about to say there's still public schools in Texas. Like they're.
I know, but it's not like the UT system though, right?
Yeah, you're right.
There's like Texas A&M has its own thing. It has its own cult.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, completely different. Completely different.
Someone tried to tell me that they were a Texas fan because they went to the University of Texas at El Paso, and I was like, no, that's UTEP. That's not Texas. Those are two very different things.
Completely different. And most of the Texas fan base is just old fat dudes who drink Bud Light who go to Walmart and see a burnt orange t-shirt for $10 and they say that's the one. And then they wear that to a game and they're fans.
I mean, to be honest, those seem like the type of guys I'd want to hang out with. Whenever I think of Longhorn fans, I think of just like the worst humans ever, like rich kids who aren't from Texas. Who I don't have any like personal hate towards him, and I don't follow him like really at all on Twitter, but like I do have him muted, just because every time I see his face, I just want to punch it. He just has the worst face ever. He's not necessarily ugly. He kind of looks like he looks so much like Kyle Rittenhouse, to be fair. Kyle Umlang on Twitter.
God.
Yeah.
I know nothing about him and I like to keep it that way, but his face is just the worst face ever. That's such a horrible face.
I hate this person more than like the majority of people in the world. Like I hate him. There's nothing else to say about it.
The reason why I have a problem with him is his features are just so soft. Like, and then he tries to be provocative on the internet, and I don't like the combination of those two things. If you are like a soft, like you look like a cuddly, human being, then be a cuddly human being. Don't be a dickhead.
He's easily the biggest piece of shit on the internet today. And every Thursday he does like a Aggie Fact Thursday, and it's some stupid fact from, the 50s or the 40s, back when Texas had a football program. And it's just irrelevant shit. And so I always beef back and forth with him on Twitter, and that's just the best interactions I get because he is the biggest piece of shit on the internet, and everyone seems to agree.
Well, so I think that that's the type of Longhorn fan I don't like. The person you described seemed like a really cool guy. He was like old guy, drinks beer, goes to Walmart and watches sports. Like, okay.
Okay, I could live with that.
I could be convinced.
This guy who wears a suit to a Saturday morning brunch in downtown Austin and the 105-degree humidity on top of everything else, and then decides to tweet at everyone, "Oh, you're just mad because you have less championships. Have you seen our rowing team this year?" And it's like, no, I haven't actually.
I actually know somebody on the Texas, like she just graduated, but she was on the Texas rowing team.
Son of a bitch. And
she was cool though.
I can't say no one I know from Texas is cool. Everyone I know that went to Texas is like either like an absolute douche or a piece of shit. There's no in the middle. Like they're just not good people. Like, no disrespect if you are a good person and you went to Texas. It's just I don't know you. So
yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I feel like we've definitely talked a lot about Texas in the past and our distaste for them. I think we have a universal distaste. I had a tweet that just really nobody interacted with at all. And it was my top 5 least favorite schools. Number 1 was Notre Dame. Number 2 was Texas. Number 3 was Ohio State. 4, Michigan. And 5,
Tennessee.
No, I don't hate Tennessee though. Like that, I don't have a problem with them. Like they're just Tennessee. Like I had a different one, but I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, those 4. Those are a strong 4.
Those are strong, solid 4.
Yeah.
We did just beat Notre Dame in the College World Series, so we sent those Catholics packing. They're going back to wherever their school is.
Cultists over Catholics.
Yeah, I mean, they should probably stick to Touchdown Jesus, their football.
That'd be a good shirt. That'd be a good shirt. We should have done that. I mean, honestly, A&M, as weird as they are, they're doing the Lord's work, man. They took out Texas. They took out Notre Dame.
We are America's team at the moment. I mean, nobody likes the Woo Pigs. They're kind of nasty. And then, I mean, Auburn and Ole Miss, that's just trashy fan bases. So we're just doing the Lord's work out here. And
that Jello Shot board loves Arkansas and Ole Miss. I don't know who you're talking about. Whoever owns that bar where they're getting all the Jello Shots bought and paid for, they had the best weekend their entire lives.
I did.
Yeah, that was Rocco's. Yeah, I did see that. Shout out to producer Nick. He did the grit work for that. He did the exact math of how much the shots, like how much they made via the shots.
I think at 10 a.m. this morning, it was $63,265.50.
Which, by the way, Jello shots probably are the cheapest thing to make ever. Mm-hmm. So they're definitely raking it in. Plus, they're charging $4.50 for that. Like, even in Madison, they would give out Jello shots for free.
Mm-hmm. Most bars do.
Yeah, most bars give them out for free. So people are actually paying $4.50 for them. Jello shots are actually the worst way to get drunk because they don't hit you for like an hour.
And then it just hits.
And then it just hits you and you're like, I'm having no fun doing this. Like the whole point of consuming alcohol is like, stress reliever. I feel good.
It. Yeah.
You're like, when you're taking Jello shots, you're like, I don't feel it.
It's like I took 10. I'm not drunk yet.
I took 10. I'm not drunk yet. And then you wait like an hour and a half and you can't speak. And what's the point of that? There's no fun to that.
Yeah.
Jello shots. No, well, that's the thing. People always this is Big Jello trying to tell everybody that Jello shots are like the most fun thing ever. They are not fun. They're stupid. Just grow up, take a normal shot. They're not like that fun and cute. They taste fine, sure, but there's other alcohols that taste really good too that will get you drunker quicker, and it doesn't trick your mind into thinking that you're not drunk for an hour and a half.
I mean, but the thought of saying let's do Jello shots is so much more fun than saying let's do shots. Like a Jello shot just by itself in nature, the thought of it is fun. It's like a kiddie version of a shot with the same amount of alcohol.
Yeah, but like a kamikaze shot's fun.
The feeling of somebody walking into a party with a tray of Jello shots is unmatched.
Yeah,
You know, that guy's a hero.
That dude is the party dude. Like he's.
I mean, I'll take
yeah.
one Jello shot. Okay, here's also.
Whoa! You really played your hand there. You'll take one.
No, I'm saying like I'll take a few. Here's my disdain. Really, where it comes from, the root of my issue with Jello shots is that there was this like one friend group I would hang out with, and they would make Jello shots every weekend. I'm not joking. Like not just like once every like few months. I'm talking every weekend. They would be like, let's do Jello shots. And I would just be so fucking annoyed. I'm like, no more Jello shots. Why? What are we doing? Like, yeah, Jello shots are fun. Like one or two times, like here and there sparsely. Jello shots completely lose their meaning when you start doing it every weekend.
I will give you that. I will give you credit there. If it turns into a thing where it's like, hey, it's Tuesday, we're doing Jello shots. It's like we did it.
That's
Monday.
literally what it
yeah,
was.
It's like, yeah, no, that's too much. You got to save the Jello shots for the right time, you know?
Yeah.
Like a 4th of
100%.
July party, you have red, white, and blue Jello shots. You're just throwing them out to everyone. You're a fucking hero. People love you.
Yeah.
If you're doing that on like, I don't know, June 7th, it's like, who are you? Why? You know?
I did want to pull up while we're on the topic of colleges and sports and drinking. I don't really know if anybody was like talking shit about it, but they kind of were. So I found this picture on Reddit, and it's those dudes at the Royal Ascot horse race, like drinking, but they brought a candelabra.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people are talking shit about it. I think they are. You know, they're saying like, oh, this is like a Harvard Yale game, whatever. They're nerds. Yeah, first one, not a fun one, not a fun tailgate. I beg to differ. That actually looks lovely. I tell you what, if you're pulling up, these guys all have Land Rovers. I think sitting down with your boys over with some suits and a nice little candle dinner with fine wine and champagne, that looks amazing. I can't believe that people were giving those guys shit. I mean, that just looks like an incredible time.
Well, I mean, to the Harvard Yale game, that's just uninherently the funniest comment we could have possibly had on that. That's hilarious. Like, I mean, objectively speaking, that's really funny because that is the scene.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah, it's
funny, but I'll take that. I'll take the candelabra tailgate over most tailgates. Like if you're telling me, let me explain. If you're telling me I can have fine dining with fine wine and like you still have a grand old time, there's still plenty of people. Do you know how many drugs those wealthy people have? Like they're packing a punch, and they have the good kind too. And you know, you're hanging around some high class individuals with a lot of money. It's more refined. I'm not saying I take it over like the best tailgates in the country. I'm saying, like, think about how many tailgates there possibly are.
Yeah.
I'm taking it over a Jaguars tailgate. I'll be honest.
I don't know. That one might be a little off. I feel like Florida folk get a little too crazy, and it might be something that you have to experience.
They have like 5 fans. I'd rather go to a Dolphins game or a Bucks game.
Okay, fair.
I mean, I was just picking a random, NFL team.
Well, if you were going to do that, I would have said something like, I don't know, like I'd rather do that over a New Mexico State tailgate. And it's like, yeah, I completely agree. You know, it's just going to become the anti-New Mexico podcast where it's just, are you from New Mexico? This is not the podcast for you. Sorry. I don't want to alienate any listeners. If you're from New Mexico, we love you just as much as everyone else, just not as much.
I also think too, although they don't give out athletic scholarships, if I played a sport that didn't matter, I would definitely go to an Ivy League.
I mean, that's just implying that you could get into you could, but like that's implying that like this hypothetical person could get into an Ivy League school. It's like, yeah,
but if you play sports, you can get into an Ivy League school. Like if you're really good at sports.
I could. I was decent at sports, and I couldn't get into Harvard or Yale.
Did you try?
No, because I didn't get in.
Dude, I went to Columbia football camp. I was talking to the coaches. Yeah. I got some D3 offers.
Look at you. That would have been incredible. Watts as a football player.
Can I actually tell you? So I told you guys I played 8-man football, right?
Mm-mm.
So I played 8-man football.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I went to a bunch of different like football camps so that way I could get like seen and, you know, kind of
Yeah.
recruited and stuff. So I ended up getting like a few D3 offers and stuff like that. And at the Columbia camp, here I am, like I played DN for my 8-man football team. And I was probably only like 20 pounds heavier, maybe like 30 pounds heavier. And like I did put on like a lot of weight for football and like I lifted a lot. But when I got to Columbia, they immediately looked at me. And here I was trying to sign up for like the DN squad.
Mm-hmm.
But right off the bat, they were like, "Oh, tight end." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I just didn't. I was so nervous because I also like looked over at the DNs. I was like, "Shit,
They're huge. They're huge.
So I was just like, "Yeah, fuck it. I'm a tight end now." But you know, like I did play tight end in college or in high school because you know our team was so small. Not tight end. I actually did get a chance to walk on at Wisconsin. People forget. But I did not make the team. And shockingly enough,
we'd have a much different Watts here. You'd be one of the Watt brothers.
Well, I took a tour at Wisconsin. Like they actually were nice enough to like give me a tour when I came to campus. Yeah. So I got to like go see the entire facilities, and then they signed me up for like fall conditioning program my first semester. And then but I was also in a fraternity, and then they just kind of, you know, we stopped talking to each other pretty much. And
so what do you do? Well, I'm actually in this frat. And they're like, sorry, see ya.
Well, yeah, I mean, pretty much right after the first semester, then I realized my football dreams were over and joined Old Row. But yeah, it was hilarious because I just walked in there and they just immediately assumed I was a tight end. They're like, "This dude doesn't play DN," and I was just like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's roll." I had sick highlights though because I played 8-man football, which meant everybody was just like a tiny, like scrawny bitch. So there was my senior season, I had 18 and a half sacks. Like it was just incredibly easy.
Yeah, you were just a monster.
It was just incredibly easy though. Like I won't even like deny it. Like there were times where the quarterback would just straight up run into my hands.
You had that dog in you.
I had that dog in me. They did an x-ray. They found a dog.
People absolutely forgot that Nick Watts was actually the other Watt brother at Wisconsin. He just didn't get the chance.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. When I first walked in, I think they honestly thought that I was a Watt brother because
you're even blonde like him too.
They kept saying like, "Is it Nick Watt?" And I was like, unfortunately, no. And they were like, "Ah, damn. Okay. Well, here's a tour."
Disappointed, like, oh shit. It's actually funny though that the death of football is the beginning of Old Row, because like I didn't start at Old Row until like after I was done playing football at Tech. You know, it's that like I don't know, I just started partying all the time. And then I got the DM. Yeah. Oh yeah, bro. Just started partying, bro. They could stop me. Yeah, no, it was a time. It was a time and a half.
But yeah, I honestly think if you looked at Ivy League schools, you definitely could have gotten an offer. Like you might have had to pay for it, but you probably could have gotten an offer.
Need to go back in the
vault. I can see your life flashing before your eyes. You're like, damn, I could have went to Harvard. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, the level of play as a Texas Tech walk-on compared to like a Harvard, starter, you could have probably started for Harvard.
I mean, if you think about
how different would your life be if you went to Harvard?
I don't know. Like I wouldn't change anything. Like I love my life now and I'm very happy. Don't get me wrong.
Well, obviously.
But dude, I mean, you would be dealing with a completely different cocky piece of shit if I went up to Harvard. If I could just pull the Ivy League card on a motherfucker at any point and still be like, oh no, I still played sports. Like that was still me. I would have absolutely been like the most you could not have a conversation with me. People would hate me so much more than they already do. So much more.
Have you guys been seeing all these like cows die and all these factories burn up?
There was one in Wisconsin, what, yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yeah, so all these food factories have been like exploding and catching on fire, and all these cows have been dying. And there are all these conspiracies online because I'm pretty sure it's going to happen eventually. They're going to try to convince us to eat, beetles as protein all the time. But, the people are saying that Bill Gates is behind this because he wants everybody to eat his Beyond Meat.
Wow, Kansas had a huge mass cattle death.
Yeah, so, it begs the question, are billionaires killing our cattle?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Why not? Like, I feel like at this point, billionaires are just like have bingo cards of like what fucked up thing they could do next. It's like,
By Twitter.
Hey, by Twitter. Yeah, did it. Ban free speech. Yep, did it. And then like on top of that, like go a few rows over, it's like kill every mammal out there so they have to eat our food that we bake in factories. It's like, yeah, did that too.
That's so scary to me. Like the fact that they're just because what's gonna happen is it's like I don't think it'll literally be dung beetle, but they're gonna just say like, well, you have no other option but McDonald's. Mm-hmm. This is what you eat now.
Yep. And you'll be in absolute hell because you can't stand fast food. You make it a point to tell everyone you hate fast food.
I do.
Mm-hmm. Even though the one time I took you Whataburger, we have not heard the end of it.
Is it not Whataburger?
It's Whataburger.
But isn't that Whataburger? Like what a burger?
I've always called it Whataburger. I've been around and said Whataburger. I think it is what a burger, but it's,
see, because I told my girlfriend, I was like, oh my god, Whataburger's so fucking good, and she was like, isn't it Whataburger? And then I was like, I had the same reaction you just had, which is like, damn, I think it is Whataburger.
Every kid that grows up in Texas grows up saying it Whataburger. But at some point in their young life, they discover it's Whataburger, and it just changes the direction of their life forever.
Once you hear it, it's like the Yanny Laurel thing. Mm-hmm. Once you hear it, then you can't go back. You can't switch to Yanny if you're Team Laurel.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to start saying Whataburger, and it's gonna actually like drive me insane. Oh, I can't do that. I can't be like that like just mean to people. Like, yeah, actually, sir.
What Joe Biden did on Saturday or Sunday was impressive. Like, people are giving the man shit for falling off a bike. I gotta give that man props for even being on a bike. Like, that is the most impressive part about that. That man is 90 years old and he is on a bicycle. I have to give him props for that.
So
I'm very funny moment. And again, it literally goes back to what we were just talking about last week. Was I surprised? No, not at all. But I mean, after digesting it a little bit and
letting
after the immediate reaction of laughs that I had, I was like, damn, I can't even imagine my 90-year-old grandpa on a bicycle.
No, I can't either. But I mean, at the same time, do we really think that he was on the bike that whole time? That is my entire point. I swear they either let him go around that last corner and then just do that last little stretch, or they had a stunt double do the entire thing and then just like go to a bush and let him come out.
I do feel like, though, everybody would talk about it. You know what I mean? Because there were a lot of people at that race. So they would say like, oh, Biden only, he only did it for
everyone in that race had to sign an NDA before they even got there. What are you talking about?
That's true.
Yeah. There's no way that like everyone on that staff wasn't fired though immediately, right? How do you let that video get out? How do you let him fall? If you're the Secret Service agent or his like, I don't know, his writing team with him, you got to like stop him and like help him off. You can't just let him sit there and then just slowly like,
Well, it just shows you it's crazy how Nike was able to swipe that video of
Mhm.
LeBron getting dunked on by a high schooler.
Hmm.
Do you know about this?
I do not, but this sounds very interesting to me.
So LeBron had a camp
Mhm.
like in like 2008 or something, right when he joined the league. And there was a high school athlete that just posterized LeBron.
Oh
And
shit!
Nike was basically able to, or LeBron and his team, whoever it was basically able to swipe the entire video from the internet. I mean, there are definitely like now it's definitely it floats around, but for like 10 straight years, nobody knew where the video was. Yeah, Jordan Crawford posterized LeBron.
Okay, watching this. Little spin, little step back, little shot up. Okay, okay, yeah, nothing crazy.
That's actually this is maybe a good hypothetical
Of
Like-
what?
of folklore. Would you rather be
Oh! Oh!
We've got flight reacts over here.
Jordan!
Would you rather be the guy who dunked on LeBron, but like nobody knows about it? Or I'm trying to think of, like if you have like one moment versus like a career. So you can either be the dude who dunked on LeBron and you're like a legend forever, or you're a dude who played like 5 minutes in the NBA.
I think it's kind
Like
of.
I'm trying to think of a player. Like, would you rather be Damian Lee or the dude who dunked on LeBron in high school?
Damian Lee, dude. He got rings.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's married to Steph's wife. Sorry,
Steph's wife's sister.
Steph's wife's sister.
Yeah.
I'm a Warriors
What?
fan.
No, I thought it was Steph's sister.
Is it Steph's sister?
Did I say Steph's wife?
Yeah.
Well, he might be married to Steph's wife. That
Well,
family,
yeah,
you never know.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on in the Bay.
By the way, shout out to my Warriors and
Shout out to
Grant's pseudo Warriors. That was a time to be alive. There was absolutely no monetary gain for Old Row there, though, so I kind of had to hide my fandom. Even though on Twitter, I definitely did not hide it.
No. You pulled all the replies out too. You're one of those guys that, hey, Boston, let me eat your tears for a second.
I was gonna say too. Well, Swig tried to pretend like it never happened.
Mhm. He said, "What is the Warriors?" And yeah,
Is that
so
what team is that?
who is Steph Curry? One of the funnier texts I've ever gotten. Of like, what is this guy talking about?
Klay Thompson also is cemented as a
Mm.
legend. We should talk about his performance yesterday.
Let me remind you, this is recording several days after the last game of the
No,
series.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about his performance yesterday.
I know what you're talking about. My man was sloshed off his ass.
He lost his hat because first of all, he's a huge boater.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently he lives in Marin now, which is like north of the city.
Yeah.
And you can take your boat. Siri just keeps popping up. Siri, I'm not talking to you. Anyways, so he boated from Marin to the city for the parade. And in that, he lost his championship hat, which
It happened.
I get he can always get a new one, but you do want to keep the one that you got right after the celebration. And then once he actually got there, he said anything is possible as he was chugging Henny on the float. And then
What are the all-time moves? What are the all-time moves?
And then he just absolutely trucks a chick in the parade.
Oh my God.
Did you not see that video?
No, I did. It was
okay.
violent how fast she went down. Like, it was one of those things where it's like, is she okay?
And
I don't think
I
she-
also I don't think Clay even noticed what he did at the time because he didn't really I mean, he was nice enough to be like, oh, I'm sorry, but then was just so drunk that he just got caught up immediately.
Mhm.
And then to top it off, he lost he dropped his championship ring. Thank God he got it.
My
I
God.
figured if he lost it in the mess, then a fan probably would have returned it. Which
Oh
begs
yeah.
the question: if you found Klay Thompson's ring on the street, would you give it back?
So after the fact, no. During it, yes.
What about for us? I want to know your opinion because you're not a fan.
I would probably give it back. I mean, it's he worked hard for
All
it.
right, good guy for us. Good guy for us.
Look
I
at
don't
him.
really have
any
He's
use
worked hard
for
for
it.
it, man. Come on.
My question is, who had the better drunk championship parade performance, Tom Brady or Klay Thompson?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady was shit faced. I mean, man, like just the fact that he trucked over a chick, though, like the fact that he just absolutely, like, because Tom Brady was drunk, and most athletes at parades are absolutely shit faced regardless. But the fact that Klay Thompson went on the street and just ran over a chick, like he was so lost in the sauce.
I think playing catch with the Lombardi Trophy
Yeah.
might be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's the actual hardware. That's like he had reply guys online coming to him being like, why don't you respect the trophy, man? He's like, I have fucking 7 of them. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. So I mean,
that's the ultimate loser move. That's from somebody who hasn't won a Lombardi Trophy. Is it like somebody say like respect it, like having they're a Jaguars fan. Sorry to dump on the Jaguars today, but I mean that's definitely coming from a Jaguars fan.
Hey, you're shitting on those 5 people again.
If I had that trophy, I would respect it. Speaking of which, I want to talk about a phrase that I hate so much. And I just despite it's been going around the internet at a wildly increasing rate recently. The phrase rent free is literally the worst fucking thing. It is a pariah to the internet. If you say rent free to anything, then you are the saltiest little bitch boy I've ever seen in my entire life. You're so lost. You have nothing going on in your life if you're saying that something lives rent free in your life. You can't lose a game and say that a different team is living rent free in your mind.
Yeah.
No, you just suck, and everybody wants to point it out. I think we were talking about it last week, but I fucking hate it so much.
You hate the rent free talk.
So you hate all of the University of Texas is what I'm getting.
Yeah, well, University of Texas, apparently University of Texas, University of Tennessee, Celtics.
It just circled back to Kyle Umlang again because that's his go-to phrase. He's like, "You're just mad because this is the first championship you've ever won." It's like, no, we just beat Texas in a regular season game. It's like, let us be happy for a minute. Don't be a dick.
No, they live rent free in your mind.
Oh, but no, he's rent free.
Every single horns down anti-Texas post I put out is always met with rent-free comments, and it's just a waste of space and a waste of my time to read those stupid comments because your team sucks and mine does not, and that does not mean you're living rent-free in my brain.
I'm literally only talking about you for a certain period of time. Like the majority of my life, I'm not talking about you.
No, it's like just this
the
moment
vast
right
majority.
here. Yeah,
just this moment right here where I beat you. It's not living rent free in my mind. Speaking of which, I have fucking haters right now.
You have haters.
I've always just had haters, and I just have no idea why. Like I post nothing inflammatory towards other people for the most part, and then you just have other people take time out of their day to DM me like you're stupid. Like what?
Do they actually?
Oh my god,
so great.
It's so crazy. Speaking of rent free, I live rent free in so many people's minds. Like I just wake up to like a new request because first of all, it never goes straight to the primary DMs. It's always in the hidden DMs section.
Always.
And they're just like, yeah, you suck. Your content's terrible. Go fuck yourself. And I'm like, you really don't have to interact with this at all. You could just skip it.
Yeah, like you could just like go a different direction with this. You don't have to be on our ass about this. Like, you could just ignore me. I'm one person. I'm very easily avoidable.
Yeah, I love being ignored, man. Like like it or move on.
So what about that video I sent you?
Oh, you act like I saw it.
Oh, that's rude. Okay, so this umpire at this, was it a high school game for us or
It
something
looked
like
it looked
that?
like high school.
It looked like a high school game, or like, maybe a big travel tournament of like, AAU guys or whatever for baseball, whatever that equivalent is.
Oh my
Um,
god.
This
That's amazing.
umpire is just here, makes a horrible call. And the PA announcer for the home team goes on, starts playing Three Blind Mice, like the song Three Blind Mice or something. And the umpire stops the game, points up to the PA box, like, you're out of here. It kicks out the PA announcer for calling him a blind mice for making a shit call. Because God forbid someone says, hey, I disagree with you.
I'm so happy you brought up umpires because I don't know why, but like over the weekend, my friends and I we were talking about, well, I specifically brought it up, but I am still so mad about Armando Galarraga, the
Okay.
pitcher for the Tigers that had the perfect game going into the last out. And this is like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
not
like,
even
this is so old.
I posted a TikTok about it. I'm still so mad about that because you're talking about MLB history that could have been made that day. That dude, what the player for the Cleveland Guardians was out by a whole country mile. And the umpire, every single umpire knew this guy's tossing a perfect game right now. And they discussed it and they talked about it even after the play because the umpire called, the base runner safe, even though he was so out. The fact that they didn't switch that call when he's tossing a fucking perfect game is the most classic ump show of all time. Like, he literally wanted to make that entire moment about himself by calling that dude safe. Like, there was no reason. Even if there's a tie at first base when somebody's tossing a perfect game, you call that dude out.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, but you just don't ruin MLB history by doing that.
And not only that, it's like at that point, the Cleveland former Indian, now Guardian player is like, is he a scumbag for not being like, yeah, like,
No.
come on.
Literally right after he got called safe, I literally posted on TikTok. I looked at the video. The Indians player's like, oh my God, like, this is the worst call of all time. He's like looking around and he's like, I can't believe I'm safe. And if you have the entire, because when you're a baseball player, you have to imagine, like, if you can get a hit to break a perfect game, like, yeah, you try your hand at it. But like, in that moment, when you're out after a ground out to the shortstop, you just gotta, I mean, that was just the most flagrant call, I think, in sports history.
It was bad. It was a bad call. And there's like, it's one of the worst calls. Like, it's up there with like the Rams Saints, like, no call on PI. And
I think it's the worst call. I mean, because
given the situation with it, yes, like, I agree, but it's right there with all that.
I don't even think it's with it. I think it's so far. I think it's literally, it's miles ahead in terms of the worst calls in sports history.
I would put
situation.
Going to a Super Bowl right there with throwing a perfect game.
No, dude, maybe winning a Super Bowl, but not going.
Did the Tigers do jack shit?
Also, too, with the Saints game, like, that's a way more arbitrary call than a play at first base.
That's also true.
Because if somebody's out at first base, obviously it was a bad call in the Saints game, but at the same time, like, you could say, like, yeah, the ref saw something completely different, yada yada yada. Like, there's different angles and stuff. When you're talking about a play at first base, there's literally a right and a wrong answer. And first of all, the ump went ahead and apologized for it because he knew he got it wrong. And then you look back on it now and it's just blatantly wrong. Like with PI, I'm sure there are Saints fans that are still like, or sorry, the Rams, they were playing the Rams, right? There are still Rams fans out there that are like, no, it wasn't PI. Yada yada. Even Guardians fans are being like, yeah, that should have been a perfect game.
Yeah,
Their
he
fucking
was out.
players are saying that.
I'm just, I don't know. They just the part that pisses me off the most is that like he had like how soon after did he apologize? Is it the press conference like right after the game?
No, I think it was like a few years after.
Oh my god.
Because refs are such assholes. Like they think that whatever they say goes, and there's
Mhm.
just no other possible answer to their calls. So
Mhm.
I'm sure it took him a while.
Ugh, just evil, just absolutely evil, ruining. And not only that, like, what did what's his name, Armando Gallegos? What did he even do after? Like, did he? How much longer? Galarraga. How much longer was he even in the league after that? Like, like some of those, like that, like the great thing about baseball is that like some no-name dude could throw that game and that could be his like one moment forever. And
well, as my friend said, because the perfect game was ruined, he might be more well known than if. But if you throw a perfect game, though, you're pretty cemented.
How many perfect
MLB
games
history.
there? Less than 30, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's like 29. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they should go back and just grant him the perfect game.
Yeah, 23 perfect games in MLB history.
There you go.
That's crazy. And baseball has like been going around since the 1800s.
And then the year after, that was the first year they like permanently installed instant replay. But if you're the ump there, you have to be a grade A asshole because they talked about it. Like Jim Leland, like went out and argued with the umps.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about it. They were discussing the play and such. And for you not like, I get if you get the initial call wrong, fine, but it just shows you how stubborn and how much of a dickhead these people are. That they were after deliberating for like a full 15 minutes. They didn't even decide, like, yeah, let's overturn this. Let's give them the perfect game.
Maybe his ass wasn't in the jackpot yet. Maybe he just didn't know.
Yeah, it wasn't in the jackpot.
Yeah, if your ass is in the jackpot, you make that call. But no.
Should we talk about our potential guests on the show?
I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it. So that's why
no way she comes on.
Dude. I think so. Okay. Tommy Laren, that's how you say her name? I was Tommy.
By the way, we were talking about this last week. I was thinking we should actually bring it up with her. Names that end in I. We were talking about this last week. Names that end in I are the trashiest names ever. And Tommy's right up there. Yeah.
Tommy Laren. Is it Laren or Lauren? That's where I get fucked up.
Lauren.
Tommy Lauren. Fuck. I'm a little drunk. Tommy Lauren is asking to be on a collab project with us where we go on her podcast. She comes on ours. If I had to think to myself, I don't think she knows that drinking on the podcast. I don't think she knows that.
I told her.
Okay, and that's what she was like. Okay.
Well, she always said that if she comes onto our podcast, apparently with Fox News, they have this weird rule where if she comes onto our podcast, we also have to go onto hers, which would just be ridiculous. Like imagine us like on a Fox, I think it's Outkick.
That's fine.
It's just ridiculous.
That's fine.
She definitely looked at our podcast. I would be absolutely floored if she comes on. But I mean,
would not only be floored, I'd be the happiest person in the entire world.
Yeah. I would be too. I'd be happy.
So did she reach out to us?
Yeah, she did. She's starting a new podcast, so she wants to get some press.
Well, I'm telling
you, everybody knows the best way to get some press around here is on drinking on the pod.
Well, I mean, she's not wrong. You get the old row crowd in, then I mean, you have like a big initial pop. Like, I mean,
well, that's what I was saying.
We still do numbers.
Yeah, no, that's well, like our actual podcast, it is what it is. But we could collab with the main account.
Yeah, of course. I know a guy that would let that slide. Yeah, I know a guy that might let that slide.
Yeah, shout out to Swig when I asked him, like, hey, can I have Tommy Laren on the pod? And just it's classic because I always send him, full paragraph text, and then he'll just say, I don't care.
Sure. LOL.
Do whatever you want.
Shut up, Grant. I hear that one more than anything else. So that's fun.
We should just start bringing on like random homeless men.
Well, I have like, it's that classic thing where it's like, oh, I have a podcast. And then every one of your friends is like, you should have me on. I know what to do. And it's like, what do you? Like, what are we going to talk about? Just, hey, man. Hey, how's your day? Good. Okay. That was our guest.
We already have Nick on for that. So
yeah, exactly. Ross is here. So we could do
I'm
that.
that homeless guy. I look like it. I fit the bill.
Yeah, I don't want to alienate Tommy Lauren before she comes on, because we're gonna manifest this. How much of the stuff that she says do you think she believes in? Because I've heard stories about her.
She went to UNLV, dude. I think she gets down. I think she parties. I think she's like, I honestly think she's a lot closer to like me and you in terms of like her personality and all that than she is like a Fox News personality, which she actually is. I think that I really think that she's 29, went to UNLV, and is objectively speaking an attractive blonde female that lives in the South. Like, I think she parties. I think she knows Old Row, and I think she's like more in line with us than she is like, just diehard OAN, which she used to be.
Yeah, I have a feeling that, well, I mean, there have been stories about how she's not actually conservative, but then she leaned into it. I don't want to slander anybody here.
Well, let's have her on the podcast so she could defend herself. How about that?
She doesn't have to defend herself. I'm just curious.
Let's have her on the podcast so I could ask her tons of questions about what college life in Las Vegas was like.
See, that's was life. That's the thing I want her to know is I'm not coming from like an attacker angle. I'm just curious. Like,
yeah,
I have a lot of questions for a lot of people.
Watch this episode be our like most listened to episode. It's because Tommy just comes out. It was like, I wanted to go on their show, and they just came out and started judging my character. It's like, no, you're a great person, Tommy, and I actually love you.
Yeah,
I might have to slide off the Haley Steinfeld love fest and just start going straight for Tommy Lauren.
She's engaged now or married or something.
Yeah, it's a JP Arancibia, former Blue Jays catcher.
Yeah. See, Tommy, we've done our research.
I looked at the Wikipedia.
Yeah, we looked at your Wikipedia.
No, I saw like engaged to JP Arancibia, and I was like, wait, isn't that the old Blue Jays catcher? Because I used to be like a nerd and like just absolutely.
Yeah, he was on my fantasy. Like, he was like a pickup, like for a 1 week, spot.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even that. It's like I used to play like, I mean, I still do play like the sports game, like the sports video games, and just like learn every player's stats and all that, just because I'm looking through rosters all the time. And that was, man, I love the baseball games, the old baseball games. And JP Arancibia was on those games since he was, in fact, an MLB player for the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't know where we go from here. I want Tommy to come on the show. That's all I want.
Yeah, Tommy, come on the show so that way we can stop hypotheticals and we can get to the real answers.
Other guests that I would want on the show are, I'd want Elon Musk. I'd want him on the show.
Greta Thunberg.
I would not want her on the show.
I want her on the show.
I think after 5 minutes of her is she from Norwegian? Is she Norwegian?
Yeah, she's from Norwegian.
From Norway? I heard what I said as I said it, and I was like, I already said it. So
okay, you can't tell me that you would not want to have Greta Thunberg on the pod.
I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't, because
I'm not saying I like Greta Thunberg, but I do want her on the pod. Imagine Greta Thunberg on this pod, like we're just mixing up Bloody Marys, and she's just going on about some random bullshit.
Wasn't she in like a movie or something recently, like playing herself?
I have no idea.
I'm almost positive she was.
I think if she came on, we'd probably have to do a game, like take a shot every time she mentions climate change or gun control or something.
I wish we could do it like a brand sponsorship ad. Like it would be like she only gets like 10 minutes on the podcast. And Imagine if we had like a Greta Thunberg segment, like every pod, there's just 10 minutes of Greta.
Brett, I'm gonna have to stop you right there.
Let's take a shot, boys.
So
Hey, man, I'm all about being open, even with people I heavily disagree with, and I think are really stupid.
I'm trying to think of other people. Vladimir Putin. Love to have him on. I feel like Putin might fit in with our podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we just have to go absolutely out of the box with it.
Sister Cindy might be a play.
That would actually be a great guest to have on our podcast. Didn't her husband die?
Yes, rest in peace, brother Jed, a true member of the Aggie community.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Did he go to Texas A&M?
No, just provided hours of entertainment for countless kids on campus.
I'd like Cam Newton on the podcast, but just to talk to him in that weird hieroglyphic, like only talk to him like through typing in that hieroglyphic.
There's no sound, just the
No
sound
sound.
of like keyboard
Yeah,
clipping.
just,
Like
just in
So
the Windows
Cam,
font.
how you feeling today? Just here.
John Gruden, but we all have to do John Gruden accent, impersonations to him.
We all have to send him bad emails. Oh, it's
Yep.
just email. Actually, the Gruden interview.
With
just an
only
email
the
chain.
emails.
It's just an email chain. So what about Qatar? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
What's going on in Qatar?
The World Cup.
Oh,
Yeah, and if you have a one night stand in Qatar, you could get arrested for 7 years.
because the FIFA banned the sex for
Well, FIFA didn't ban the sex.
FIFA banned the sex. FIFA said no sex for you.
No, it was more the Qatar government banned the sex.
Why would you go?
To watch some soccer, watch the most beautiful game.
I feel like it's not the most beautiful game if these players are all pumped up on testosterone because they didn't get their load off.
I just realized they're not going to sell booze in that stadium. That would suck.
Yeah, if I watching soccer is one thing. Watching soccer sober is something like I don't enjoy it enough to be able to watch it sober.
All those stadiums are going to be a mile apart from each other. Like this is like having they're building like 10 stadiums because they have to for the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be like if New York City had well, first of all, Qatar's population is like a total of like 2 million people. So it would actually not be New York City because it has 8 million people. So it would be like if LA had LA is a bad example because it's so spread out. So I'll just use like what's a small city? Like Philadelphia is like a good example. It'd be like if Philly had like 9 60,000 seat stadiums within a 10-mile radius.
It's like wait. There's a stadium right there and right there. Which one is it?
I can't even imagine, like, why would people, I can't even imagine the type of people that would travel to that game because there are going to be 0 USA fans. It'll probably be like 10 Saudi princes at the game.
Mm-hmm.
And
they'll have an entire section to themselves.
Yeah, I think all those stadiums are going to be completely empty.
Oh, dude, it'll be so great. No, they'll fly in fans to make, like, FIFA will actually, like, force people at gunpoint to come to that game to where it's at least, like, a quarter filled. Like, it won't just be empty. Like, it'll look horrible, but it won't be, like, as bad as we're making it sound just because the FIFA, like, organization is such, like, a corrupt, fucked up people.
They're gonna invite all the families of the migrant workers that were killed
Exactly.
to the games.
Yep.
And they're gonna fill the stadium up that way.
Because all of them have like 47 kids. You're right.
Family night at the FIFA World Cup.
Before the game starts, we'd like to take a moment of silence to support the families of all of the workers that died in building these stadiums in 2 years that we needed for the World Cup. If you're a member of that family, please stand. Everyone all at once just stands. Oh, boy.
What if they had dog night at the FIFA World Cup? Like they couldn't fill the
with
stands.
all the whistles? Oh, Lord. Do you think cities like Yeah, okay. This is actually like it's topical. I think there needs to be more cities like Omaha where there's just a random city in the middle of bumfuck nowhere that hosts like a sporting event. Like if March Madness, like the Indy Combine, the NFL Draft Combine being in Indianapolis for no reason outside of like that was the newest stadium at the time, and they're like, hey, good facilities, let's do it there. Like in the College World Series being in Omaha every year, we just need like some rural bumfuck town in Kansas just to get a big spike in population. Just be like, fine, March Madness every year is going to be there, and just start doing it that way. Because this is so much fun seeing Omaha and how much fun it is and how much fun all the people are having, regardless of how fucking expensive and impossible it is to get there. I think the
And how
concept of
expensive the Jello shots are.
yeah, well, that's just
You want to talk about
inflation.
inflation?
Yeah. You don't understand. It's like the top three things that have grown in price. It's like beef because of all the cow killings. It's gas, and then it's Jello. And it's those three
Jell-O.
in that order.
Jello is
Oh.
disgustingly expensive these days.
So there's this guy that hops in our streams with us. I do streaming on the side, by the way, for Old Row. I run the Old Row Twitch. There's this guy that hops in the stream with us. He's from Nebraska, and I don't know anything about Nebraska outside of the fact that they have corn, right? Like Nebraska, big corn town. Their fucking college, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, are called the Cornhuskers. I asked him, I was like, so like you guys have a lot of corn there? And he was like, yeah, dude, there's corn everywhere. We all love corn. I was like, okay, I looked it up. Nebraska isn't even a top 2 state of producers of corn.
Let me guess. California number 1.
No,
Iowa number 1.
correct.
Iowa number 1, and
Number 2 is a little bit of a
Number
wild card. You're not going to believe it.
I have a feeling it's like. Give me a second to guess here.
Nick, you got any for us? You got any guesses?
I would go with like Montana or Wyoming.
No.
I was gonna say, maybe Minnesota.
No, sir. It's Chi-Town, Illinois is the second leading state in corn production in the United States. Nebraska is number 3. It's not even a top 2 corn state, and they want to claim Nebraska is the Cornhuskers.
Well, Wisconsin has more lakes than Minnesota, and they're the land of 10,000 lakes.
Oh my God. And Los Angeles has like barely any lakes, and they're called the Lakers.
I hate that, but I do like the alliteration of it.
Alliteration, it works at times. It's just if you overdo the alliteration, it's kind of too much.
I mean, the LA Lakers works.
Yeah.
I hate the Lakers, but it works. What do you think the worst sports team name is?
This is actually this is good right here. Let me run through them all.
I mean, it
Utah
depends-
Jazz.
Utah Jazz.
Oh, that's a horrible one.
Mhm.
I was going to say, oh man, the Washington Wizards, just so bad. Like that's such a horrible.
It's up there.
How many Wizards are in DC? Like what? And they had to get rid of Bullets, which you'd think that.
There's a lot of bullets.
Well, you think that Bullets would get canceled nowadays, but they canceled Bullets like way back.
Yeah. There's Gilbert Arenas when he brought the gun into the Wizards locker room was just trying to throw it on for the Bullets retro night.
Yeah. Gilbert Arenas brought back the Bullets.
Literally. But I mean, there's more wizards in Washington, even if it's self-proclaimed wizard. Like I know how to do magic. I'm a wizard, as compared to Jazz in Salt Lake City.
Well, you
there
just
is
said
no music in Salt Lake City.
You just said another terrible name, the Magic.
Oh Lord.
The Magic's terrible name.
I'm sorry. Have you ever been to Magic Kingdom, sir? They're named after Disney's.
I know. Well, I wish that Disney, there were so many other options for Disney there. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have to go with Magic. You know the wedding that they didn't have any catering for it, so they okay.
We didn't talk about it, but yeah, I know.
Okay,
what you're
so
talking about.
there was a wedding that was posted on Am I the Asshole on Reddit, and they said, "Am I the asshole for having zero catering at my wedding?" Because they used all the budget for food on Minnie Mouse and Mickey. Mickey and Minnie Mouse. And they were like, am I the asshole for not providing food for people on my wedding? Buddy, let me tell you what. The $2,500 you spent on Mickey and Minnie was not needed.
You
People
could
would
have
have
spent
rather eaten.
$50 and been just fine.
Oh my, yeah. I can't even imagine how many Mickey and Minnie impersonators there are. I mean, they had
especially
to get
there. Like, it's not like they flew them out to like fucking Wyoming, you know? It's like they're in Florida.
So for us, you know about this story?
I think I've heard about it briefly because this could
Okay,
lead into the
so-
whole Disney adult debate, and that is just
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
we've definitely talked about Disney adults. That's why I was a little bit, I was curious as to whether we talked about it on the show before. But spending $2,500 on Mickey and Minnie, like they're famous on TV. They're not famous anywhere else.
No.
Like
Yeah,
you
'cause
could
if I'm at a wedding and Mickey and Minnie walk through the doors of the reception place, I'm probably leaving.
Yeah, so they decided not to feed any of their guests. They just decided to spend it on Mickey and Minnie.
Well, okay, so this is the only part where I'm kind of like, they could have done it. Was there an open bar at least? Like, did they at least do bar, or was it all food and drink, or was it all food?
There was no food and there was no drink. It was
Okay,
literally
then
just
yeah, I'm out because I could get drunk enough to where I could enjoy Mickey and Minnie Mouse walking through the door. Like, I could at least be like,
yeah, but you can rent a Mickey and Minnie costume for like
100%.
$200.
yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying.
You can
It's
have
like,
Uncle
especially in
Bob
Florida.
dress up. I honestly think who are the only people that you would pay, like you would sacrifice the food budget for? I'm thinking like OJ Simpson.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Tim Robinson.
No, maybe Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods at the party would be sick, but he would be
No.
way more than $2,500. That's why I said
Yeah.
OJ.
I
Like, who
would
could you
probably-
afford for $2,500 that you would sacrifice your food budget for?
Tommy Lauren.
I don't think she would come for $2,500.
Don't give her any ideas. We can't afford.
Yeah, don't give her any ideas.
I think Frank Caliendo, because then I would have like 100 people at my wedding in one person. Because then you're just doing like a budget saver and have him do all the impersonations and voices that he does.
I would probably say Borat.
Borat would
Seems
be
like he'd
good.
pretty entertaining. You could probably give him a Baywatch DVD, and he'd come to your wedding.
Well, Sacha Baron Cohen would not come for $2,500.
No, Sacha Baron Cohen.
You could get a Borat impersonator.
There you go. We're
I would
back on the
actually-
same train.
I would love a guy that doesn't look like Borat, but just does a Borat voice. like it's like the Nathan For You, like Bill Gates impersonator. Who just does a Borat voice, like just like an old man. Like honestly, I would prefer like a bad Borat impersonator, just a dude who looks completely different from Borat, and he just says like, "Hello, I'm Borat."
It's just some like 6'7" black man. Just hello. I think I have the answer though, and I don't think they would come for $2,500 either. But I think if you convince them, like, and actually told them the bit, they would do it. If you got Trey Parker and Matt Stone on acid wearing dresses like they did at the Oscars, like all those years ago, if you got them to come in and just like act completely oblivious to the bit that they're being paid in dresses. Do you remember that story, Watts?
Yeah, I know the story.
Yeah, so Trey Parker and Matt Stone, after they made the South Park movie, got did they win an Oscar, or they were nominated for an Oscar? I think
They were definitely nominated. They got banned.
Yeah, they're banned from ever going again, but they showed up in dresses on acid, and the bit was that they did is like, we're not allowed to bring up the dresses. If someone asks you why you're wearing a dress, just talk about it's a magical night or anything. And they're both tripping hard as fuck on acid while they're going through this. And I think if you did the same bit for them and just like, no, come to the wedding, act like you're on the groom's side, the bride's side, I don't care. Just go in dresses and act like you're a part of the family and oblivious to the entire thing. If you paid them $2,500 to do that, provided them the acid, I feel like that would be a pretty good way to spend $2,500.
That's actually a great topic to bring up, because when you think about it, I mean, Harry Styles does that probably every day.
Exactly.
And now they got banned from the Oscars for life. Like, they need to bring them back. Like, they were ahead of their time.
honestly, if the Oscars doesn't get canceled immediately, I think we should cancel the Oscars like on behalf of the world.
This is the canceled segment of the day. The Oscars are canceled.
Canceled.
You can't. I mean, you just can't be hypocritical about that type of stuff.
Especially when you invite Harry Styles to perform at your shows. You bastard.
True. They probably did. I don't think they actually. I don't think Harry Styles goes to the Oscars.
Yeah, he's in movies now.
Probably.
Oh, that's true. Now,
Then what was
remember,
that?
he hasn't been invited in the past though.
Remember
he goes to the
Dunkirk? He was
Grammys,
in
but-
Dunkirk.
Oh yeah.
He just
My
spoke
cousin-
about 15 words.
Mm-hmm. My cousin was an extra in Dunkirk. That's how I know that.
I think the worst part about seeing. I think I saw. What was he in the end of? Was he in the end of Spider-Man?
No,
Oh, no, the
no,
Eternals.
The
The
Eternals.
Eternals.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw it with my girlfriend, and like, just hearing everybody freak out about that dude
Mhm.
made me so mad. Just
How
irrationally mad. Like I have no beef towards Harry Styles, except for the fact that just every single female on earth like just wets their pants over him.
absolutely loves
And
him.
then, at that point, I just say, fine. I'm gonna start just like going nuts about the female actors of this movie.
It's like we could do.
They're
this both
dwindling.
ways.
They
Yeah.
don't do many females these days. But
No. It's only a male world. I just
well,
love.
they do different types of females.
Yes. That's very correct. That's very correct. Okay, so we haven't talked about this. Chris Evans versus dinosaurs.
You saw Jurassic World? Is
I
that
did
what you're
not see
saying?
Jurassic World. Did you not see the quote he did?
I heard his thing about Fantastic Four, how he would come back as one of those characters, but not Captain America.
That's not it. Chris Evans. So he
Damn it.
plays idiot. Okay, so Disney made a new movie called Lightyear, based off of the movie Toy Story,
Oh.
where Buzz Lightyear, as the human, not as the toy, actually goes off and does his whole thing.
I
And
love how
made a
they
toy
say
after him.
they always say like based off Toy Story. Like who doesn't know that Buzz Lightyear? Like what did you think he was based off of?
Wait. Buzz Lightyear was in Toy Story? But the movie Lightyear is about Buzz Lightyear, played by Chris Evans. In said Disney Pixar children's movie, animated in theaters right now, there is a scene, I haven't seen it yet. There's allegedly a scene where two animated men are kissing. And Disney really going out of their way to be like, yeah, we care. Go for it. Kiss.
Good for them.
Apparently there's some outrage, as there usually is. Some people are upset about the two animated men kissing, which, so be it. Chris Evans responded to them and said, all of the anti-LGBTQ plus people that are hating on the Lightyear scene will die off like the dinosaurs. To which the next article posted by Deadspin was, Jurassic World's new movie outsells Lightyear by $57 million at the box office. Dinosaurs 1, Chris Evans 0. So dinosaurs are up on Chris Evans right now.
Damn. Well, I feel like if it was Captain America versus the dinosaurs, he would absolutely demolish them.
Yeah, he
It
has a
was
shield.
Chris Evans.
You can't bite through
versus-
that shield.
Oh my god, dude. He would slaughter so many stegosauruses.
Oh my god. He would just run through a triceratops.
That's basically was the plot of the Eternals. I mean, they probably had to kill a bunch of
Mhm.
dinosaurs.
So many
'Cause-
dinosaurs.
Especially stegosauruses, those bitch ass motherfuckers.
People hate stegosauruses, and I will not stand for that hatred. Love me
I
a
have no issue with
stegosaurus.
Stegosauruses.
Yeah,
But what I
Triceratops
was-
is personally my favorite. I hate that I said that Chris Evans would run through a Triceratops.
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like with the shield, it's probably he's got
It's a rhinoceros with 3 horns. He has 3. He's 3 times the rhinoceros. Old Triceratops.
something that I probably shouldn't admit, but I'm going to, is I've been using Barstool Sports as basically a grocery store recently.
Oh no. They got mad at people for doing that back in the day.
Well, not because I don't take any bagels actually at this point. Like that's normally what's it about. Because like people will take like multiple lunches. Like let's
Mm.
say like a Italian company will like cater to the office, then a bunch of people will go in for seconds like right off the bat, and some people haven't eaten at all. But we have it's just an absolutely massive pantry in the office. And so, don't mind if I do. I take some body armor water. I
Oh wow.
take some Rice Krispie treats, some goldfish, some Cheez-Its.
You're
I'm
not taking the Cheez-Its.
I'm taking the Cheez-Its. I'm sorry.
Ugh.
But we have boxes of this stuff. So like that's why I don't feel bad about it. Like if it was like a select, few options, then I definitely wouldn't do it. But like, I mean, there's an entire closet filled of boxes. And now at this point, like I'm so in the game. Like I've gone in too deep and I cannot pull back. Like I found out they have like, they have like dude wipes, like boxes of dude wipes in there. They have everything from like, I'm loaded with sour cream and onion chips. Like I don't know. I don't have to buy snacks for days. Like I probably never will need to buy snacks again. And the best part about it is like, they're pretty like decent, like they're small sizes. So like,
Yeah.
I have like portions for them. Like I have like small bags of Cheez-Its, small bags of
You've rationed
Goldfish.
it out now. Yeah.
But
yeah.
no, I don't even need to do the rationing. Like it's perfect for a good munch on the couch. And
Oh,
then I
wow.
can, because one of my biggest problems is like if I go to CVS or just a corner store, right? I'll get the biggest bag of everything.
Mhm.
And then it's way harder because you need a bunch of clips to keep everything fresh if like you want it to continue for the next day after that. And it takes a lot more commitment to kind of change a snack, because let's say you open up like, those bags of chips, like I love Kettle brand chips. I normally eat the
they're
honey
so good.
Dijon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not like the normal like lunch chips. They're like
Mhm.
kind of the bigger bag. We really don't talk about this as a society, but there's a no man's land size of chip bag, which is like, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this with anybody or I'm just supposed to eat it myself. You know what I mean? Like there are like, for example, the Munchies bag.
Yeah.
I love Munchies. It's like,
They're great.
am I supposed to share this with another person or am I supposed to eat this? Am I supposed to pound this entire bag right here, right now?
Yeah.
And-
It's like, and it's one of those bags where it's the size, like if you shared it, each of you get like a snack size bag.
Yeah,
It's not like if you share it, you don't get enough. And you're upset
Exactly.
about it. Yeah.
And it's not even that, like I would probably get like enough to like satiate my need, but I would want just a tad more, like
A
I
little
need,
bit more.
yeah, I would want a little bit more. The next person, if I was sharing it with another person, they would be getting gypped.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's what's nice about the Barstool snack sizes is that they are that size where it's like one portion for myself, and then I can alternate snacks like that. I can eat 2 Oreos, and if I still want dessert, I eat a little mini Rice Krispie bar. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I'm switching it up constantly, getting new flavors in my mouth. And now it's come to the point where I looked in the pantry today. There are full bottles of Tylenol extra strength. There are like dude wipes, like disinfectant towels. Like there's so much in there. There's so many opportunities. I've decided like, because I'm taking a little bit from the office, I've decided not to no longer take alcohol from the office, because they do give out free alcohol there, but
Yeah.
unless
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
watching a game there, like I'm involved with stuff at the office, then I'll drink it there. But I'm not putting that in my bag. But I
Yeah.
am looking at my options.
You're scouting what could be next.
And I'm saving money.
Yeah, dude. Every time I go to the New York office, I make sure to grab at least 2 or 3 waters, because I stay at the hotel right down the street and everything there is like, $10 for anything. And I'm not going to pay $10 for a bottle of water. So I get like 2 or 3 waters and just bring them back to the hotel and then figure it out from there.
I have a few things on that. First of all, one of the best times I've ever had was when Faraz came to Wisconsin, which was the most random thing of all time.
Okay.
Like the fact that he was just there for an entire week and he was like, yo, Watts, are you in Madison right now? Like in the middle of February too. Like it was, or I think it was March. It was early March.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, it was the coldest weather he has ever experienced in his life. And, you know, he said he was talking shit about summer real hard because in the South, like winter is perfectly fine, you know, and maybe we'll get to 32 degrees here and there. But for the most part, that's only going to be for like 2 months. And then it's going to become, you know, nice and beautiful and such. I mean, literally the weekend after, Frost sent me a picture of him sunbathing in Texas while I was in Wisconsin. But he was talking about how he'll take winter every day of the week, twice on Sunday, you know, over summer. But if you haven't been to Wisconsin or anywhere north of a certain latitude, then you will so full-heartedly agree. And that's why I love that Nick came to Wisconsin, is just so he could experience that for himself, like realize just how fucking cold it is. Cause he was saying like the average temperatures in the, you know, in the winter, like, so what? It'll get to 40 degrees in the winter and you'll have to like put on some boots. And I'm like, buddy, it'll get to negative 40 in the winter.
I remember I went out to, I was going to get some of that beer at that Wisconsin beer Laughing Cow or whatever. And I just walked to
Spotted cow.
Spotted Cow. I walked to the Walgreens that was 2 blocks from my hotel. And I had, I think, a sweater on, boots, and jeans. In about 2 minutes, as soon as I got outside the door of the hotel, I instantly regretted not wearing more clothes. It was atrociously cold.
Like Wisconsin will humble you so fast because, you know, also too, the people there are so nice and it's for a reason. It's because like once you step out into that cold, you know, we're all in the same, you know, playing field. Everyone hates it. Everyone just wants to find like solace indoors with heat and start drinking. And so that's why everybody's so friendly, is because everybody just has to be confined to these small spaces and start like drinking together. And you know, most people when they visit Wisconsin, they come during the summer or the fall when it's nice and warm, you know, they come for football. But you know, to come in the middle in March or February, you're talking about a way different task. So I always laugh on Twitter when people say, oh my God, winter is so much better than summer. And I'm like, look, man, at this point in my life, I spent 4 years in Wisconsin. I'll cherish 104 day with humidity. Like, I know it's bad. Like, dude, when I was in Dallas, like it was hot, but I was happy. Like
I don't even know if like that's the right way though, because surely there's some balance somewhere where
San Francisco, besides for how terrible the people are, it does have the perfect weather where the lowest it gets is maybe like 48 and the highest it will get will be like 82. So like it really does have the best weather, which is what makes it so nice, like year round, but definitely not great people.
No.
And then like in Southern California, it gets a little bit more overhyped than it is because it does get to the hundreds. It gets really fucking hot there and you have smog. And so outside of California, it's so tough to like find the place where you think it would be the perfect weather year round. Cause you know, in the South, it gets way too hot in the summer. In the north, it gets way too cold in the winter. On the East Coast, you kind of have like a combination of both. Like there's just no, besides for like California, which has like the Mediterranean climate, besides for that, those areas, it's hard to find a city in America that has the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Besides for Lubbock.
No. Dude, you don't understand. You haven't been there. Like, and I'm going to take you to Lubbock like before my time at Old Arrow is done. That is like just on my bucket list of things.
Well, you're talking like you're 1 foot out the door. Jesus.
Yeah, dude. My time, there's a number on my days, and it's out the door. No, people don't understand Lubbock because what it is, it's in Texas, but it's an area of land that is so flat, and there's no like canyons or walls or mountains or anything for like 100 miles in every direction, not even a hill. So you're getting all of the wind and all the storms out of nowhere. So like those like memes that come out, and for also know what I'm talking about, those memes that'll come out of it being like, oh, well, Monday it snowed, Wednesday it was 110 degrees, Thursday it rained, and Friday we're having a tornado. It's like, yeah, that all happens in one day in Lubbock. Like that like there's legitimately a day in April where it was Easter. It snowed that morning, and by the end of the day it was 70 degrees. And it's shit like that happens, and you're just supposed to be like, oh yeah, just Lubbock, it happens. Like I was in the middle of football practice in high school, and I was like a freshman in high school, and we just heard the coaches start blowing the whistles, and we're like, what's going on? They're like, haboob, everyone inside, everyone inside. We're like, what? Haboob, get inside. And I just look up, and you just see like a wall of like dust, just like about to bitch slap everyone. And it's like not even like light dust. It's like I can't see my fucking hand in front of my face dust.
So Wisconsin and Lubbock Madison and Lubbock are honestly two very similar cities.
Oh,
just on the opposite sides of like the latitudes, because you have the same thing in Madison. First of all, they always have this saying, you don't like the weather in Wisconsin, just wait 10 minutes. No, it's still shit. It's still absolute bullshit. Let me tell you what, dude, it snows every single year before Halloween. Like, first of all, on Halloween, it's almost always guaranteed to snow.
Yeah.
And before then, like I'm talking about, you get like 2 inches. Like once you're in October, you have 2 inches of snow already. Okay, so back to the original discussion. The reason why I brought up Frost into conversation, because most of the time we shouldn't talk about him. But when he came to Wisconsin, him being from Texas, his first question was like, oh, where can I buy water? And every single one of my friends just laughed at him because they were like, what? Buy water? And he was like, yeah. And we were just like, just drink it out of the tap. He was like, you could do that here?
Wait, that's a thing?
And
my main concern, conversation water, I have like the Brita in my apartment. And so I'll like fill it from the tap and put it through the Brita and then pour it in my cup, and it still tastes like trash. So I came to Wisconsin. I was staying at a pretty decent hotel. I don't know. Hotel water just doesn't hit me the right way. And so I asked him, he's like, oh, dude, straight from the tap. And so I got home that night and I just drank straight from the tap. And it was like a refreshing breeze, nice fall air went right through my body. And what was it? What'd you call it? Great Lakes water or something?
Yeah, dude, literally. So in Wisconsin in the winter, I mean, you have naturally cold water because it's so fucking cold that like the pipes, if they're not made out of, I think it's copper, then they're going to freeze right over, which is why Flint had its issues. But Wisconsin has more lakes than Minnesota. Let's always remember that. Yeah. And so, I mean, you want to talk about, there are water shortages happening, just not in Wisconsin. I mean, there are lakes everywhere. So you're talking about fresh water constantly. Plus you have so much snow that it doesn't even matter. And it keeps literally all the tap water super, super cold.
Yeah, I did struggle to find a hot shower.
Yeah, part of it.
A hot shower in Wisconsin is an old fashioned.
Okay. I'll put that on the list for next time.
It's like, that's not an everyday thing, sir.
Yeah, I mean, Lubbock and Madison, Wisconsin, they really are like two very similar sports teams, sports programs. I would say like Wisconsin, objectively, historically, has probably had like a more well-known program, but now at this point, they're pretty much the exact same.
I'd say we're in the same boat where it's like, you don't expect yourself to be the top dog ever, but there'll be times where you're like the second or third team in it. You're like, we have a shot this year.
No, at this point, like we're about the same, like athletically, but just since we're like the flagship of Wisconsin, no big deal.
I can't even name another college in Wisconsin.
Raise your hand if you went to a flagship. Exactly. There was one person that raised their hand, and it was me.
The flagship of West Texas. I don't.
This is where the podcast ends.
Yeah, it's like so.
The disdain.
Think about it though. Like the population of South Texas, where Ferraz's college is probably equal to Wisconsin as a whole, and the population of West Texas is probably a little less than that, but probably still pretty close. So like, if you split Texas up into like the areas that it actually is, like West Texas. Yeah, Lubbock, Texas Tech is the flagship there, and A&M is the flagship in South Texas. So you go fuck yourself with your flagship bullshit.
I love how you say you're West Texas because in reality you're North. That was also
That's someone.
That's
such
someone
a weird
who's
comment.
never.
That's someone who's never been to Texas.
Something.
Yeah, that's someone who's never been to Texas. Because like theoretically, yes, you're right. Amarillo to like, I don't know, Abilene is considered West Texas and everything west of that. But El Paso, which is actually West Texas, is Mexico. That's not even Texas. That's something completely different in itself. And then you got South Texas and East Texas, which we don't talk about East Texas. It's real rough there. And then you got Central Texas.
It gets really complicated when you bring in the fact that there's a town called West Texas about 30 minutes north of Waco.
Mm-hmm.
So West Texas gets very confusing. So we just go by Lubbock.
Man, people are a different breed out in Texas though. Like you like either find the nicest or the meanest people, and there's nowhere in between.
Well, what I found out about the South was that people are nice, but they also really, really care about their personal space and like their private property. You know what I mean? Like they're well mannered,
Mm-hmm.
but they also like don't want you like impeding on their personal space. you know, whenever like, because also all of us, I mean, we're all pretty like open, just like down to hang out with anybody type of crowd. You know what I mean?
Social people.
Yeah, exactly. But there was just a lot of people in the South, but I realized that just don't like that. They don't like random people coming up to them and like saying hi, how's it going? Like, yeah, I'm the type of person where like I'll come up to you, like if it's especially good for content, like I'll come up from behind and like hug you. And in the South, I'm like a little bit worried about that type of stuff.
You'll get shot. Yeah, if you're the wrong person, you'll get shot.
And they'll take it as like a personal like offense. And I'm like, bro, I'm literally just hugging you. And they're like, bro, what the fuck? What are you doing that for? Why are you touching me? Because in like the Midwest and, you know, like the East Coast, you know, people like don't really care about that. Like if you don't know somebody in Wisconsin and you like went up from behind and just hugged them, they would be like, "Oh, hey, buddy, how's it going? Nice to see you."
There. That's a warm hug you got there.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's a real tender hug. My mom used to give ones like that back in the day. But like you do that in the South, they're like, "Holy fuck, why are you doing that? I'm gonna call fucking cops. Get the fuck off me."
Do you do the boot up there? Like, are they just pretty much Canadian? Is that a real thing?
Yes.
No. It's a slightly, no, people in Wisconsin don't say a boot. They have a very problematic they have a problematic way of saying bag. Like big. Oh, man. Yeah, exactly. Oh, like
their A's are EHs.
Yeah, I mean they'll call they the Wisconsin accent is just like Canadian, but just slightly more toned down. It's a little bit more American. Like you can tell a Midwest
it's neutral
accent.
Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like man, I can't even reenact it right now. But we honestly should just make a trip to Wisconsin in the middle of winter.
I would love to. I want to go to Wisconsin and just be with my kind of just big like white people.
Oh man, yeah.
And by that I just mean like the home of like Joe Thomas and people like that, like just friendly offensive linemen that are just like
people that literally are raised on milk and cheese.
You want some dairy? It's like I would love some dairy. Thank you.
A trip to that party on the frozen lake would be pretty nuts.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, that
dude.
would be crazy.
We could honestly do that. Just have like an old row party on the lake.
Honestly, let's
I mean,
add it
I
to the
would do that.
tailgate tour.
I would do that by myself, but
Dude,
like I have done. No, I'm saying I have done that by myself.
yeah,
So like I know we can do it.
Yeah.
with the team.
I absolutely make an event out of it.
Yeah. Wisconsin, the more I'm away from it, the more I miss it for sure. Great state. This show in a lot of ways is about ranking states. It really is.
Texas won.
That's kind of how that's how all people get into podcasts, is just ranking states.
Mississippi like 47. Mississippi is
And-
way down there.
And I gotta tell you, Wisconsin, it's just terrible, terrible, terrible weather. But great people. And a hell of a time.
Should we talk about our experience in Jackson? Dude, I'll never forget. So on our way back, we were hungover as shit, but Nick said Watt said we had to stop at this. He wanted to do a crawfish brawl. He'd never done one before. And we talked to you about this for us. We had to do a crawfish brawl.
Mhm. Yep.
So we went to
Okay, that's not. Let me fire back on that a little bit.
fire back at me.
I've had so in Tahoe, we've caught a ton of crawfish and cooked them up ourselves, but I've never, and I've been to crawfish restaurant, but I've crawfish restaurants, but I've never.
I've been to crawfish restaurant.
But a southern, crawfish experience is a lot different. That was kind of my point. Was I've had crawfish a lot of times and I've had the experience of it, but going down to the place that we went to was, that was top notch. That was the best experience I've ever had.
Oh, dude, I was right there with you. Yeah.
Yeah, in
Going
terms
to
of
a Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana crawfish.
Monroe.
Was it? It was Monroe.
Yeah.
You're right. Going to a Monroe, Louisiana crawfish restaurant that hey, we only have crawfish. How many pounds do you want? And it's
We got so much.
so much crawfish.
We have to get Ryan on the pod for sure.
I just need Ryan's actual what the hell, because we had a legitimate 5'2", 90-pound server, and she was an attractive female, but she came up to us. She was like, "How much crawfish y'all want?" And I was like, "I don't know how much y'all got." She was like, "We do 1 pound, 3 pound, or 5 pound." And we're like, "Okay, how much is?" And she was like, "I'm a 5 pound girl myself." And we're like, "No way you eat 5 pounds of this shit." She's like, "I'll put in the order for both of y'all getting 5 pounds." And we're like, "You're gonna do what?" So, $100 worth of crawfish later. Me and Watts are trying to race in this, and it turned into the biggest I want to actually die. I've had too much crawfish.
Well, it tasted so fucking good that the entire time I didn't want to stop eating.
Yeah.
So that was the real thing that was happening. Was it was less. we were definitely I was definitely calling out Grant. I was like, "Hey, bitch boy, eat your crawfish up." But I also did. That crawfish was so fucking good, and getting it straight from the source was just different. And I wanted to bring up Ryan just because you want to talk about absolute most bitch performance of all time.
Oh my God. Ordered the boiled
said,
shrimp.
Oh yeah, we
Oh
had
my
so much
God.
boiled shrimp, and it was so much worse than the crawfish.
Yeah.
Let me be honest, that shrimp was maybe the worst mistake we've ever made.
Yep.
Why on earth did we order that? And he was like, "Oh, dude, shrimp are so much better than crawfish," which is just not true. Crawfish, regardless.
My
So
man
Ryan-
ordered 2 pounds of shrimp, ate 3 shrimps, and then was like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Yeah, didn't
Yeah.
have a bite of crawfish.
So
But it really, so Grant and I really did just take that on by ourselves, and we went deep. We were sitting there for I honestly want to say that's why we need to put out the footage for sure. I'm gonna get that downloaded to the Dropbox because I have all that vlog footage, and it will still play as long as it's for me too. I don't really care about how people think about it.
Yeah.
But we sat down at that restaurant for a good hour and a half.
No,
2
I was gonna
hours.
say like almost 3 because we got there at like 4:30 and we got back on the road at like because like we stayed for a little bit and kind of sat there, but we got back on the road like at 7:30 like in like the thing was as soon as like we were trying to get on the road, we were done with everything. There was a wreck like in the parking lot.
Oh, that was fucking crazy. Oh
Like,
yeah, I took a shit too.
And Watts took literally the biggest shit of his entire life.
It was like also the worst like shitting experience because when we went down there, by the way, you could not have asked for better weather. Like that was peak, just beautiful spring weather in the South. But the only thing is that it was beautiful weather outside. In the bathroom that they had.
It's like all the humidity and all the hot air got trapped in a room.
It was a poor bathroom experience. And this is after I was sitting down eating 2.5 hours worth of crawfish. And like Grant and I weren't even talking to each other. We were just like looking in each other's eyes, like just peeling apart crawfish, like one by one, pounding through them. You know, honestly, I will say this podcast, speaking of between me and Grant, we're perfectly primed for eating competitions.
You say the word, we will go toe to toe with damn near anyone on anything.
Dude, we could absolutely tear people apart in eating competitions. This podcast could go on the pro eating tour. I swear to fucking God. We could demolish some fucking food. So we basically went through the damn near whole 5 pounds. There's no fucking way that this chick ate all that crawfish. Like,
she kept on coming over like in 10-minute intervals, like, oh, y'all haven't even put a dent in it yet. It's like, what?
Oh, dude, we were hungover and like kind of pissy at her. Like, so I will say, I made
shit to us.
I made the best call because, like, literally, you know, weeks before we even made the trip, I said, we're driving through Louisiana. We're going to get some crawfish. I mean, you were on the pod when I told you that.
Yeah.
So I was really, really happy that we ended up going. And they seasoned, I just want to say, like, it was the perfect blend of spice and just like saltiness, you know, like they just did not miss. Because sometimes, you know, you worry, is it going to be too spicy for my liking? Is it just not going to have any flavor at all? This was just idealistic, beautiful perfection. But yeah, like this chick, she came up to us and I wanted to punch the shit out of her because we were so hungover after going to the Auburn rodeo. I was so fucking drunk on the hazy IPAs they were passing out. And we were all exhausted at that point. We basically gotten like, I don't know, 6 hours of sleep total.
Like throughout the entire weekend, yeah.
And this, you know, like 90-pound, 5'2" girls, like after 30 minutes of eating it was honestly like 10 minutes of eating crawfish. Grant's right. After like 10 minutes, she said, "Oh, you barely made a dent in it." I just want to be like, yeah, it's been fucking 10 minutes. We just fucking sat down, you asshole. Like, give us some fucking time. Jesus. I was so fucking mad at her.
And 10 minutes later, she comes back over. She's like, "Oh, y'all tapping out?" It's like, what? We just got here.
It's 85 degrees. It's humid in Louisiana. It's nice, but it's certainly not cold.
I'm still sweating out all the beer that I had yesterday.
And they also had like, dude, it's crazy at some of these seafood places. They'll give you like the plastic gloves and it'll still seep through them.
Oh, dude, yeah. No, like the
it's
spice,
crazy.
like, it burns through your gloves. Like, and I didn't wear gloves, but like it was still in my fingers like a week later.
Ross, did you use the gloves?
No, I don't think that place specifically actually gave gloves. Okay. I think what I remember, now this place didn't give gloves. What they did give was that sick, this is a crazy memory, but the sick hand soap. So they had, first of all, every restaurant has to get in on this. Put your sink outside of the bathrooms.
Genius.
Sink, yes. Sinks outside of the bathroom is just the best thing ever, because sometimes you don't actually need to go pee. You just need to wash your hands after like you just ate a bunch of finger food or whatever it was, or you're at a bar and like, beer spilled on your arm, something along those lines, as opposed to you have to wait and, like a 10-man line to go to the bathroom for a single stall, or like you're in a filthy bathroom that's flooded, 2 inches high. It's best to keep the pig slop in one room and then let everybody wash it outside.
You want to know why they do that though at crawfish places specifically?
No, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's
like,
because
they do
their
that
hands get
because-
so dirty.
Well, not only so dirty, it's like, say you do have to pee in the middle of it, you got to wash your hands before you go to the bathroom, because you touch your private parts with like a spiced up hand, you're gonna have a bad, probably week like of just pain.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
100%. But barbecue, if you have a barbecue restaurant, your sinks better be outside of your toilets, because your hands just get so fucking destroyed. You need to be able to wash those off quickly. And what I loved about the crawfish place is they had like the specific type of soap that had like, it had like grains in it, like, like pebbles in it to like really like gristle your skin out and stuff like
it's
that.
like, no, you're washing your fucking hands.
Yeah. And no, like literally, because Grant was worried about having like crawfish in his fingers for like weeks and weeks on end. And like we got it out pretty quickly because of the soap they had. Downtown Monroe was kind of nice. It was like one of the only like nice parts of the South that we saw.
Well, it was just so much different than anything else, because like, and this is I kind of found out this is every Louisiana town. There's just so much old money in these Louisiana towns that like there are parts of it, like, the nice areas that are so fucking nice and so like well kept, and just like, like just big houses, nice yards. And then like you see like the other side of it, and it's like right across the street is like just run down, torn up shit and stuff like that.
We went along the highways. Like that was the only time that we didn't really go along the highways, which is where like the actual money is. Like people don't want to live. They don't want to be neighbors with a dude across from I-95 or whatever it is, I-10.
Yeah. Yeah, but going along the river in Monroe, and all the houses along the river are very, very nice. And downtown in Monroe was very like old nice, but very nice. Shout out Monroe, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Loved it there. So much better than where is Louisiana? It's Ruston. Ruston was not nice.
Ruston was not nice. Yeah, I did not like that place.
Neither was Jackson, Mississippi.
Jackson, Mississippi sucked.
Where else did we go in Mississippi? We went to a couple of Mississippi towns that were just horrible. We went to Jellystone National Park.
Oh, Jellystone.
Oh.
I made Grant pull over for Jellystone. There were several times that I made Grant pull over for certain things. But we did stop off at Jellystone. I said we gotta make a trip down there and see what it's like, because they don't actually have national parks in Mississippi, but what they do have are corporate national parks.
And we love those so much more, because we pulled it. You pull in, and then there's just a big Yogi Bear on the side of the road. Then you just look up, and there's like a giant water slide into a lake, and then there's just like a water.
It was
park.
a McDonald's of a national park. If you can imagine McDonald's owned a national park, that's what it was.
It's like the ultimate McDonald's playpen area. It's like the ultimate like version of that. And you just pull into this park, and it's like, it'll be $29.95 to actually enter the park, sir. And no one wants to pay that type of money to go to a national park.
Go check out some trees. No way.
I want to say the most mediocre college campus ever. Like I'm not. That sounds mean. Just like the most like middle of the road college campus, like not bad, but also like not bad at all, but also not great at all, was Auburn. Like Auburn.
Okay, I thought you were about.
No, I love Bama. Bama was sick.
Yeah,
like Bama
is one of my favorite campuses I've been to.
And I wouldn't necessarily call Bama like the best college town, but it's definitely like up there in terms of the experience. And it's just like You can walk around there. You kind of have like a really really nice college vibe. There are good restaurants.
Well,
They're really good bars.
I also feel like you got a little bit of a jaded view of Auburn too, because like we did just party in Tuscaloosa like that night and be able to see all that during the day, just to drive into Auburn like at 2 a.m. and see it like dead and just see like what I could only assume were either coked out college students or homeless people just walking the streets, which apparently all the streets there are just 1-lane highway, 1-lane roads everywhere.
But that's the thing. Like, first of all, we had a sick Airbnb, and
Yeah.
like Auburn,
Shout out Ryan for
I
that.
still had a lot of fun, visiting Auburn. But my only thing is all my comparisons. Like even, I mean, Madison definitely nicer, but obviously it's kind of a different level. And then Tuscaloosa nicer, and I wasn't like. I didn't walk around Auburn saying like, oh my God, I hate this place. That's what I'm saying. Like I definitely would go back to Auburn. I thought it was a nice place, but also I couldn't really spend like a long period of time in that place because there's only one bar. I mean, they love
Dude, that drove me insane.
They love talking about Sky Bar, and I didn't realize why. And the reason why is because there are literally no bars except for Sky Bar.
There's one other bar there, and that bar is like
It's just a freshman bar.
Yeah.
They're all there are maybe two, there are maybe a total of 3 bars, and 2 of them are freshman bars. And the one bar that everybody goes to, because it's like the biggest college bar I've ever been to, but they only have one of them, which is Sky Bar. So I didn't realize like how much that meant to them. And when we went to Sky Bar, first of all, I was shocked by how big it was, because the guy, Zach, who was working with us, and I hope we continue to work with him, he was telling us like, oh my God, you guys have never seen a place like this. And I feel like, I felt like at the moment, oh my God, I've seen so many big college bars. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. How could this place be so big? And I will say Sky Bar, you walk into the first room and you're like, it's a regular size bar. Yep. And then you walk into like 20 different other rooms.
Yep. And you're like, oh, a normal size bar. Oh, a normal size. Oh my God, this is all one bar. Yeah.
This is like 15 normal size bars.
But the thing is, it's like the entire population of Auburn, Alabama is in that bar at the same time. So like, even with how big it is, there's no room to move and you can't do jack shit.
The people that had tables there must have been there since 5 p.m.
They must have skipped rodeo, which I don't understand what you're doing if you're not going to rodeo in Auburn, sponsored by Old Row.
So that's what I thought about Auburn. It was like, yeah, you do have one really cool bar. But other than that, you're in a tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
They had a Whataburger right next to it, though. That was cool.
Let me tell you.
Adds points. That adds points to the whole thing.
It does add points. Whataburger, sorry.
They call it Whataburger there. So they there's also a Whataburger in there's a Whataburger on Bama's campus too. So there's like they're hitting their markets. They know what they're doing.
See, Bama had like, well, we got to go back to Bama.
We will.
Sure.
We will.
Yeah,
that's already on the. It's on the schedule.
We need to knock out that tailgate tour tomorrow. We keep talking about it.
You want to do that tomorrow after the meeting?
Yeah, well,
before?
Definitely.
Okay.
After.
Sick. We also have the event in Greenville, North Carolina, set up for before the tailgate tour starts. So.
Oh, nice.
Bang.
It's also it's what I love about Grant is that he drives. I just wanted to bring that up because I can't do Bama or any of these other places without that.
So I've always been that guy that's like I hate saying it like this. I'm a tank. It's very hard to get me drunk, and even then I will sober up very quickly. And like I know like the point, and especially like when I bring my truck or I know I'm driving, it's like I will never get to that point. And not only that, I feel so much more comfortable driving than I do anything else, especially in my truck. I'm in love with my truck, so it just makes the most sense for me to just take charge of that and be like, no, I'm driving. This is what we're gonna do, and we're just gonna handle it. So it made sense and it worked. And not only that, seeing all that was
That's why
actually
I'm
pretty cool.
excited to go back to Bama. And also,
We're
you know,
driving back again. You son of a bitch.
I love road trips now. I honestly, I could
do love road trips.
I could do so many more road trips with you guys.
I don't think we're talking about how brutal that was though, because like we sat out at the bars. And
it really wasn't brutal though. Like
the first 2 hours, like getting to Shreveport was brutal. Like
no, but well, the thing was, at least for me, like, you know, maybe you have your own opinions, but for me, I had a great time the entirety of the trip. Like there was not
absolute blast. You're 100% correct, but going out until 2 a.m. then waking up at 5 a.m. to drive. That was that first 3 hours before the sun's up. That was
there were tough moments, but we made the best out of them.
100%.
Like, you know, that got me excited to do another 14-hour road trip.
Christ. Lubbock trip will be nothing to you then. You'll be 100% on board.
I could say maybe not like another. Well, I mean, like if we had a bigger car, like one day if we had an old row RV, what do you think about that?
Well, shout out the NASCAR event. You know, if we get invited to go and do some of the other courses that I forgot the name of the group that owns TMS, but that ownership owns, if they invite us out to do maybe a different event and we have a little bit more sponsorship to it, me and Swig were in preliminary talks of potentially renting an RV for that if all goes well and doing it that way. So that could be something.
But I mean, and also too, now that we have Faraz on the team, we can just have him drive.
Yeah, that's part of his internship.
Yeah, man. If y'all want to squeeze in my Toyota Camry, you're more than welcome.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. We will get you a rental car and you have to drive that.
All right, that works. That works.
I'm not getting in a fucking Toyota Camry. I don't know what the fuck you think. You're even too big for a Toyota Camry, let alone me.
Oh yeah, no. When I go pick up people in school and I like drive my car, they say, oh, "You drive a Camry?" It's like, "Yeah, I drive a Camry." Everybody thinks I'm a truck guy.
Yeah, what's it to you?
It was a free car. I mean, I'm not turning that down.
Yeah,
folks. This is episode 6 of Drinking on the Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. This is Intern Watts signing off.
Peace.